Hey guys, so this session started a few minutes earlier, so I'm just going to take a moment to share the section on the various social media platforms. So just hang on a minute, we will start on time. Yeah. Hey folks, so basically I'm doing a live session right now, and I'm going to be talking about how you can set up your lexical electronics panel pilot display. And basically, this live session will show you how you can actually send the voltage reading to the display. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple of very simple steps using the PanelPilot software. All right, and I'm actually streaming live both on YouTube live right now as well as using Instagram because I do have a lot of followers on Instagram. So I thought it'd be good to make use of the reach and influence that I have on both platforms to showcase the live broadcast itself. So I'm practically actually um, holding my phone in my hand, and I'm actually also doing live right now on Google. What is that? Google Hangouts on air. So yeah, when it comes to typing, good thing and good news is that the Panel Pilot software is very easy to use. You don't have to type a lot of things, so it's good that I only have one hand today. So okay, so basically I'm just going to switch my view over to the software, and then I'm going to screencast. So for those who are watching me on Instagram, you are just basically going to see me live. I'm just going to point my phone at the software itself. So hang on a minute. Okay, so here we go. All right, so for those on Instagram, basically you'll be able to see what I'm doing right now. All right, using the PanelPilot software. All right, so this PanelPilot software is really easy to download and install. I did realize that I probably didn't put the link in the description for the YouTube video, so I'm going to add it in later. But basically, what I have here is a project that I've already created. So I'm just going to go back a couple of steps, and I'm going to show you what you need to do to get it working. All right, so let's go back to the front. Okay, so basically, assuming that you selected the template, and in this case, the template is basically the reading, the kind of reading that you want to create. So in this case, basically I selected the temperature reading, and based on the temperature reading, I selected the colors. Now, by default, the template uses blue, so it does look fancy having blue and red. But honestly, from a UX perspective, people register psychologically their eyes, they register by the colors. So if you want to really design a good UI, a good dashboard, it's important to make sure that you show the. Let me make sure that everybody is the ice cream cast properly. I need to present to everyone. I always forget that. Sorry for those who's watching it on YouTube and you were not seeing the application. So okay, so basically, once you have selected a template, the colors. I was talking about the colors and how you need to pick the right colors because the user's perspective, in the UX perspective, they would register the importance of the reading by the colors and not so much the temperature itself, right? So it's important to pick the right colors in this case. For example, green would usually signify that the temperature is in the right temperature, the range, all right. And then obviously, as it gets hotter, like there's a pretty good example for say the local Singaporean climate. There are days when it's 31 degrees, so 31 degrees is sort of like really cooling and nice. And then there will be times where it becomes like 40 degrees and it's just super hot, right? So the colors that you choose, like green and red, is good because from a UX and CX meaning customer experience, from a customer experience perspective, the customers, the users who use the display can immediately know by the color without even reading the actual temperature itself. So that is something that is important to take note. So that's why I picked green and red. All right. So how you want to customize the color is very simple. This is based on the selected color. So for example, if I wanted to change, although I don't recommend in a real world application, but I'm just going to show you. Right. So when you pick the selected color and then you click on the bottom color, it will change the display. All right. So that's the color that you're going to use. But let's go back to green. Let's use a brighter green. Okay, then we go on to next. Okay, so here basically you need to set the upper and lower bounds for the temperature that you're trying to measure. All right, so at the lower bounds is basically 30 degrees and the upper bounds is 40. I just set it as 10 degrees so that it's a lot easier to measure it, as you build the display itself. But then again, you can put any range that you want, all right? It's important to note that if you were to refer to the data sheet itself, which I actually showed in the previous session, so the data sheet itself will let you know what sort of voltage resolution it can actually how sensitive is it. So based on the amount of voltage that your voltage source, all right, based on the voltage source, basically it will measure the rate. Basically per degree Celsius, you will divide by uh, the number of, how do I say, the intervals in between. All right. So that is something that you have to take note. Okay. So the next screen that basically shows you is it presents you the option at 0 volts. What of the meter, all right, what will it display? So in this case, 0 volts clearly will be the lower bound, which is 30 degrees. Now, one thing that I myself made a mistake previously was I didn't set this as 30. It was actually 1 or 0, and that is actually wrong. So always remember this this value here, this field that I've selected is basically the lower bound reading that you want to set. All right. Okay. And then here, basically, you set the highest maximum voltage. If it's 4 volts that you are supplying to the display, you want to display the upper bound temperature, which is 40 degrees. All right. So just take note of that. Okay. For the alarm, all right, this alarm feature here, we will actually talk about the alarm feature in the next session. So whatever we have built with this current setup, we are going to continue to build on top of it. So whatever you have created for this session, you can sort of just put it aside after today, and you can bring it back next week, and we can continue with it. Or you can just take a photo of it if you need to tear it down for whatever reason, so you can remember how the wirings are being placed. Okay, so we don't have to do much here. Screen brightness, we set it as 100%, that's fine. If you want to lower it, you can lower it to save your, basically, the amount of voltage and amount of current that it's consuming, right? The power that's consuming. So I think 80% is usually a very good range, right? If you want to kind of like not maximize the brightness of the display. It really depends on the setting, the industrial setting that you are designing the display for. So it's good to take note of that. If you are putting this in a place where it's very, very bright, it's probably outdoors, then you probably need to max out the brightness. Otherwise, because of the glaring of the sun, people might not be able to read the display properly, right? So, but in this case, we are indoors, so I'm just going to put it as 80, and then we're going to see what it looks like later. Okay, so once that is done, you can choose to save the configuration. I would recommend saving the configuration so that next week, when we continue to work on it, you can just continue with the steps. But I'm also going to tell you that in the default screen, later we'll go to the main menu, I'll show you, you can actually download the uh, configuration from the display itself. Okay, this is something that I thought it was really, really useful from a product user perspective. As a product user perspective, having the option to sort of take any display from, say, your work site, some displays could be used to display certain things, certain different readings. But the fact that you can just take the display, connect it to your workstation, and then retrieve the configuration from the meter itself, that is so amazing, because if not, you probably have to recreate everything yourself again. All right. So that is something that you need to take note, and I think it's really good as well. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and upload the configuration, the meter. While I'm uploading the configuration, I'm going to take a moment to just say hi on Instagram, because I know that there are friends, and there are people that are actually supporting me, and I just want to say hi. So, yep, I'm just going to do that right now. Okay, so here's my recommendation. Remember earlier I mentioned that if you have to follow certain steps, the steps that I'll provide will make it much easier for you. So the very first thing that you want to do when designing a display is to actually um, build this display first, all right? Create everything, download and upload the configuration to the meter, all right? Once you have uploaded the configuration, the next thing that we're going to do now is we're going to work on the electronics portion. So I am going to move. Okay, I'm going to come over to this side, guys. Let me see if I can. Okay. Shoot. Okay. So anyway, let me also change the screen sharing on Google Hangouts. Okay, so basically, what happens here is that you don't have to use the Arduino. All right, I'm basically using the Arduino Uno by DFRobot since I kind of bought multiple sets of the intermediate kit to kind of support the lab series. So over here, basically, I have this. This I'm using the 5 volts voltage. Right, you can see that there's a pin over here. I know that for some of you guys, I'm just going to shift it a little bit while I also autofocus for the webcam. Okay, so from here you can see that I have actually, there's this uh, thing here that you need to put it and slot it over the 5 volt, all right? When you slot it over the 5 volt, basically, your output voltage will be 5 volts, all right? So from here, why I'm using Arduino for this showcase is because it's a more consistent 5 volts. You can use a typical, hang on, sorry, I hit the lights. So you can use a 9 volt battery. All right, I got this from a third party kit that I bought for Make Electronics. So you can use a 9 volts battery. All right. Okay, but from my case, the 9 volt battery, the adapter, the wire is very loose. So when I tried it before the session, the reading was just jumping all over the place. It wasn't exactly nice and conducive for showcasing in a lab series. Okay, so basically now from the voltage source, we will need to connect it over to the potentiometer. All right. So for the potentiometer, I'm just going to move the webcam as well so everybody can see what's going on. Uh-huh. Okay, let me shift. Okay, so I like to do it this way so that, when it comes to doing a demo or that presentation, it's a lot easier. For example, let me see. Okay, so like in this case, it's easier for me to do the demonstration. I know it's blocking you guys, so let me just try and so it's a lot easier for me to do the demonstration and so on, and you can see the temperature actually rising and dropping based on the potentiometer's resistance. All right, so basically your 5 volts have to go to the based on this direction. All right, if you are facing this direction, the camera that you're seeing, it's on the first pin on the right. Okay, so that's your 5 volts. All right, the middle pin is actually to a pull down resistor. I hope I didn't say that wrongly. I'm not an electronics expert, but yeah, so you need a resistor, 50 ohm resistor to go down to ground. All right, and then you will have another wire from your output of the potentiometer. It will go into the display. So I'm just going to cover down the display, and I'm going to do it both ways. Okay, so in terms of the sequence, some of you might be seeing it in a different direction as opposed to the webcam. But basically, this is the first one, basically the first socket. All right, so the second one is basically the reading. This is the IN1, I believe. Yeah. So if you look at the data sheet, IN1 is the one that you will send the voltage to, the varied voltage, so that we will actually display the reading according to the voltage that is being fed to it. All right. Okay. So that's basically it. It's really straightforward, really easy to do. Honestly, I kind of did this whole thing in like 5 minutes, and it's just really easy to do and straightforward. So if you have a battery source, oh yes, one more thing I need to remind you guys. When you're working on this, if you see clearly, I'm powering the display using my USB cable. So in a real setup, in a real setting, you will not be. I'm gonna adjust. Okay. Okay. I'm adjusting my webcam as well. So I also need to. Okay, so basically, in this whole setup, you need to remember that your actual voltage source to power the display has to be different from the voltage source that is going to use to control the display itself, the reading itself. So that's something that you need to take note. Yeah, other than that, I think basically that is it. I pretty much covered that. And yeah, so I'm just going to go back to the PanelPilot application. I just want to talk about something that I mentioned earlier. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to this. So once we go back to the main menu, all right, so there's this option here which says copy settings from a display. This is the one that I was talking about that I thought was really, really useful if you are trying to take a display from anywhere, basically any PanelPilot M display. You just need to plug in a USB cable to your computer. As long as you have this software installed, you can just download the settings, the configuration, and you can customize from there. So it makes life so much easier for people who are trying to uh, work with PanelPilot's M display. All right. So with that, yeah, that's pretty much it for today's lab session. Really short, right? So I want to say thank you to you guys for actually tuning in, both on Instagram as well as on YouTube Live. I think as the lab series progresses, things are actually getting better. Things are improving, and the responses are better as well. So we're going to try and do this more often. And even though next week I will be traveling to Philippines. All right, so there will not be any lab sessions next week. And then I'll return again the following week after. So next week is just gonna be a break. It's kind of like a school break for everybody. And yeah, I might just do some impromptu videos next week. So make sure you stay tuned and make sure you look out for those impromptu videos if I decide to do any. So yeah, thanks a lot to the team at Let's Get Electronics for sending me the display. I really appreciate it. I have so much fun working with it the last few days. So yeah, thank you guys. Till the next time, I'll see you again.